Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Shehan Ranatunga. Now to kick things off, and I'm not referring to the World Cup, let's first take a look at your headlines.
More suspects connected to the human trafficking ring arrested. Many more details exposed.
Overcoming
the economic crisis is not an easy task. A statement from the governor of the central bank. President tours Mana. State Minister Sanath Nishanta speaks on Basil's return to Sri Lanka. Mahathir Mohamad loses parliamentary seat after 53 years.
Now, the most watched sporting event in the world, the 2022 FIFA World Cup, kicked off in Qatar today. MTV Channel Private Limited, the network that owns and operates Sirasa TV, Shakti TV, TV1, Newsfirst and Stein Studios, has been appointed as the official television rights holders in Sri Lanka for the FIFA World Cup.
The 64 FIFA World Cup matches played across 29 days between 32 nations will air primarily live on TV1, whilst also being selectively simulcast and re-aired on Shakti TV and Sirasa TV. Viewers can tune into TV1 on the following UHF frequencies: Colombo 58, Nuwara Eliya 59, Nuwara Eliya Town 29, Matale 53, Kandy 51, Deniaya 53, Ratnapura 54, Jaffna 34, Badulla 58 and Mathugama 53. 30 right to compete through qualifying tournaments held within the 6 FIFA continental federations. The tournament has 2 stages. The group stage, where teams compete within 8 groups of 4 teams each, from which the top 2 progress to the round of 16, which is a knockout phase. There will be 3 matches on 21st November and 4 matches per day through 2nd December. The knockout stage will commence from the 3rd of December. The quarter-finals will be from the 9th of December and the semi-finals on the 14th and 15th of December, while the finals of the FIFA World Cup will be held on the 18th of December. The dazzling opening ceremony got underway at 8:10 p.m. Sri Lankan time on Sunday.
Now on to some other news. Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, the governor of the central bank, says that if the right people with real talents had worked in the places where decisions were made, our country would not be in the current position that it is in.
He made this statement while attending the centenary celebrations of Rahula College in Matara.
We are going through a tough time. Overcoming this serious economic crisis is not an easy task. We will have to take tough decisions, even though they can sometimes be against the opinion of the people. Then, when such difficult, unpopular decisions are made, certain sections of society will be harmed and some will have to suffer. When people are suffering like that, there will be a tendency to blame the decision makers. But no matter how much blame comes your way, if the decision you make is correct, then those decision makers must have the ability to do the right thing without backtracking on those decisions. When speaking about the state of the country at this time, given the fact that the country's economy is in such a dire state, I must say that we wouldn't be in this position if the people who led the economy and those who decided on the policies that guided our economy were talented and skilled people. If the people who made those decisions had talent and skill, we would have made the right decisions and given the suitable places to the suitable people. That is how developed countries function. When a country does not function on meritocracy, be it in sports, politics or economics, that country or community cannot move forward.
The national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Basil Rajapaksa, returned to Sri Lanka today. He arrived in the island on an Emirates flight number 650.
Many ministers and parliamentarians of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna arrived at the airport to welcome Basil Rajapaksa. Basil Rajapaksa was in the United States for about 1 month.
Basil Rajapaksa අපේ ජාතික සංවිධායකතුමා දිවයිනට සම්ප්‍රාප්ත වීමේ කටයුත්ත සිදු වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි එතුමා මුණ ගැහිලා එතුමා බලන්න. මේ Basil Rajapaksa මහතා ආවේ අයව දිනවන්න දාවේ. එතුමා ඇත්තටම ශ්‍රී ලංකා.
As the national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, his role is to work towards the development of the party. I don't know what his plan is. He's the only one who knows about that. He just arrived in the country. We couldn't still speak to him about his plan. I believe that the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is one of the only parties in the world that was able to win the local government elections, general election and presidential election within such a short period of time after being constituted. It was Basil Rohana Rajapaksa who was behind those successes as the founder and the national organizer of the party. I believe that his arrival will strengthen the party.
එතුමාගේ පැමිණීම මම හිතන්නේ පක්ෂයට ඉතාමත්ම ශක්තියක් කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා.
ඒ වගේම දැන් කෙටි කාලයක් තුළදී පක්ෂය මෙච්චර දුර ආවා වගේම කෙටි කාලයක් තුළදී විශාල පිරිසක් පෙළවිලා කියලා තියෙනවා.
එහෙම නිල වශයෙන් අපෙන් ඉවත් වුණයි කියලා එහෙම ප්‍රකාශ.
There are only a very few people who have expressly said that they have left the party. I don't think they can even continue to hold their parliamentary seats if they said that they left the party like that. They will lose their parliamentary seat. A parliamentarian has the ability to work independently. But whatever they do, they will need the Rajapaksas and the Pohotua to go to the village to get the votes.
ගමට ගිහිල්ලා ඡන්දේ ගන්න නැවත වතාවක් රාජපක්ෂවරු පොහොට්ටු වුණා වෙනවා. කීව දෙනෙක් එහෙම යන්න පුළුවන් නේ.
මේව ආයෙත් සාය පළ කරනවද පුළුවන්?
අනිවාර්යයෙන්.
Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe toured the Mana district this morning.
The aim of the visit was to look into issues faced by the people in the Mana district and to discuss possible solutions. The head of state also looked into the renovations of the Mana Dutch fort. The president then met with the fisher folk at the Nadukuda fishing village. President Wickremesinghe also visited the Mana wind farm. Following the visit, the president toured the Thale Mana jetty.
In the meantime, the former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad, has lost his parliamentary seat in the general elections that took place on Saturday. The former Prime Minister came in fourth in a five-way contest in the constituency. This defeat is likely to end the career of one of Asia's most enduring politicians.
According to the Election Commission of Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad received about 4,566 votes out of about 47,500 valid votes cast. The seat was won by the candidate representing the Perikatan National Coalition. Mahathir, who led the Pejuang party, returned to active politics as the multi-billion-dollar scandal at State Fund 1MDB unfolded. He joined forces with his former deputy turned rival Anwar Ibrahim to defeat the then ruling Barisan National Coalition to become PM again in 2018. The ex-Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who twice led Malaysia, suffered electoral defeat after 53 years.
Now, the National People's Power held their Mirigama electoral conference today.
Although they have so much power, nothing compares to the power of the people. For the past 70 years, our people and our motherland have been trapped due to their vicious acts. We have fought a lone battle. Those who created this crisis are unable to stabilize the country. Therefore, we need to call for an election and bring in a new government. And when the election comes, the people will vote carefully, keeping in mind that there is a crisis. They will vote to overcome it. Ranil Wickremesinghe is to be blamed for the crisis. Mahinda Rajapaksa should be blamed. The people believe that the ones who are responsible for this economic crisis will not be the ones who will bring the country out of it. They must call for provincial council elections before March 20th. And in these elections, Ranil Wickremesinghe will understand his fate. In 2020, he saw this with his own eyes. Although it was constitutional, he did not have the people's mandate. Now Basil is coming back to rebuild the port tour. Following the results of the provincial council elections, Ranil Wickremesinghe will not have the ethical right to even continue his presidency. Prasanna Ranatunga will not have an ethical right to be a minister. The real people's mandate will be visible. Many are asking whether we have to wait for 2.5 years for this. I say no. We don't have to wait that long.
Now, the human trafficking ring in Oman will bring the details right after this commercial break.
News First, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
Lanka ege arakshita iti gini petti. Surya gini petti. Lovatama eliya denna dilena Surya. Amataka vinnema නැති නමගේ සූර්යා කොහොතින් දැල්වෙන ගිනි කුර සූර්යා කවදත් නමගත් ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා කවදත් නමගත් ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා කවදත් කොතනත් සමගේ විශ්වාසය දිනාගත් අංක එකේ ආරක්ෂිත ඉටි ගිනි පෙට්ටි සූර්යා ගිනි පෙට්ටි
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
කොහොමද මිනිස්සු ජීවත් වෙන්නේ? එන්න ආර්ථිකය ඇකිලෙන රටක තමයි අපි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. සෑම අංශයකින්ම කඩා වැටිච්ච රටක්.
ඇයි අපි රජයේ වියදම අඩු කරගන්නට කිසිදු උත්සාහයක් දරන්නේ නැත්තේ?
මිනිස්සු බදු ගෙවගෙන මේ රාජ්‍ය සේවය නඩත්තු කරනවා. සෑහෙන ප්‍රමාණයක් බදු කපා හැරියා. මූලිකවම මේ වැරැද්ද කළේ මේ රටට ජනතාවද? මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඔක්කොම කපා හැරියත් මේ රාජ්‍ය සේවයට යන වියදම නැති වෙන්නේ මේ රටට වැඩක් නොකරනම කොටස තමයි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඇමති මණ්ඩලය කියන එක. ඇමති වියදම් කපාදු කරලාද දැන්? ඔය ඔබතුමිය හොයලා බලලාද ඔය අහන්නේ? අයියෝ ඔබතුමිය බේර ගන්න හදන්නේ ඇමති. නෑ වෙනස් නොවන රාජ්‍ය ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් තියෙන්න ඕන. අපේ දරුවන්
කාන්තා සටන සෑම සඳුදා දිනකම රාත්‍රී 9:00ට TV1 තුලින්.
නෙළුම් කුළුනේ කෞතුසාදී උලෝකේ පේන වගේ කතා පාර්ලිමේන්තු සාකච්ඡාවක. එතනින් පල්ලෙහාට බැසම ආය අපාය.
ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ දරිද්‍රතාවයක් තියෙනවා. Poverty of democracy.
අපට තියෙන්නේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ ලෙස වෙස්වලාගත් ප්‍රභූතන්ත්‍රවාදය.
මම කියන්නේ ගේම් ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයක් අපේ තියෙනවා.
යහපත් රටක් අපි හැමෝගෙම බලාපොරොත්තුව හැමෝම එකතු වෙලා ඉතා ඉක්මනින් යහපත් රටක් දකින්න ලැබේවා අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා.
Open, honest, hard-hitting.
Unearthing the real facts. Cutting through the noise.
Going the extra mile at whatever cost. Relentless in the pursuit of the truth.
Connecting the dots, revealing the bigger picture.
What matters to you matters to us.
Because this is our nation.
It's about our future. Face the nation.
Face the Nation, Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV1.
Good evening and welcome back to News First. Now, fraud and corruption, these are some of the greatest challenges that we are facing as a nation right now. We reveal details about a group using the plight of helpless Sri Lankan women battered by the economic crisis and running a human trafficking ring. Subsequent to this revelation, a suspect connected to this human trafficking ring has been arrested in Puakpitiya, Avissavella. The suspect was produced before the Fort Magistrate Thilinda Gamage today. The suspect was remanded until the 1st of December.
The reason for the humiliating and deplorable state that Sri Lanka is in right now is corruption and fraud. The citizens of Sri Lanka who have to pay for the fraud and corruption of those in power are finally forced to travel overseas to work under conditions that can only be described as modern-day slavery. The foreign exchange sent by these workers who work under conditions of modern-day slavery is proudly proclaimed by those in power to be one of the main sources of foreign income to the country. Newsfirst exposed the plight of mothers, sisters and women who travel overseas as domestic aids who were caught in the clutches of a human trafficking ring. The expose was centered around an incident where several women who were taken to the United Arab Emirates from Sri Lanka on the promise of providing them with jobs were forcibly taken to Oman on the 15th of this month. A resident of Colombo was arrested on suspicion of being involved in this human trafficking ring. Another suspect in the case was arrested by the Avisavella police. The suspect was a middleman in getting women for employment overseas. The police said that the suspect was arrested based on complaints made by women he sent and abandoned overseas. The suspect was produced before the Fort Magistrate today and was remanded until the 1st of December. Meanwhile, many more details regarding this human trafficking ring in Oman are being revealed. Among the serious allegations leveled are women sent for employment overseas on visit visas being used as sex slaves and several other women being harassed. Two of the women who were abused spoke exclusively to Newsfirst about the human trafficking ring in Oman and the abuses they had to face at a safe house run by the Sri Lankan embassy in Oman.
මගෙත් එක්ක ඉන්නවා ෆාතිමා එය තරුණ මවක් තරුව ඉන්නවා මේ දෙන්නම මේ අත්දැකීම් වලට මූණ දුන්න දෙන්නේ ෆාතිමාගෙන් ෆාතිමා ඔබ ලංකාවෙන් යන්නේ කොයි කාලෙද
මම 2021 10 වෙනි මාසේ 3 තමයි මම ඩුබායි ගියේ
I traveled to Dubai on the 3rd of October 2021. I went to Oman from Dubai and worked at a house in Oman for a month. I spent about 4 months at the embassy. I did not get any concessions from there. I spoke to an individual called Kushan and told him that my children are suffering. He did not take much notice. He said that he will look into it. He asked me to come to see him one day and he said we can speak about the matter casually. He sent me his location, booked a taxi and sent me some messages. He then took me to his house. He then asked me what I wanted. He said that he will look into sending me back. Suddenly, he put his arm around me. He held me by my hand and pulled me towards him. I pushed him away and said that I did not come here for that, and I told him that I only came there to speak to him. He said that if I agreed to it, he can send me back to Sri Lanka. He then continued to forcibly pull me towards him. I shouted and cried. Then he got scared. He then said that he will drop me off at the embassy. At about 8:30 on the night of the 31st of August 2022, I was sent to the safe house run by the embassy.
එම්බේසියටම ගිහිල්ලා ඇරලවන්න 2021 22 8 වෙනි මාසේ 31 රෑ 8 මාරට මාව හරියටම එම්බේසියට ගිහින් සුරක්ෂා නිවාසයට ගිහින් දැම්මා මාව.
මේ කියන අතවර කරදර වලට තරු ලක් වුණාද නැත්නම් මොකද්ද වුනේ?
නෑ ඇත්තට මම එහෙම ලක් වුණේ නෑ.
I was not subject to such treatment. Came and took one girl away. Kushan and are people who bring people from Sri Lanka using fake visas. He told us that we need 700 to 800,000 rupees to travel back to Sri Lanka. He said some people need 1.2 million rupees to get back. Then he asked us to go find that money and come back, and he told us that if we can't find the money, to go with the representative of the agency and do his work. They were not good people. They operated brothels there. They used to sell and harass girls. Kushan was directly connected with those agencies. Kushan forces the women, and I have heard that with my own ears, and I saw it with my own eyes. He forces us to go and work with these people who operate brothels. Yes, I directly accuse Kushan, and Kushan is corrupt.
Meanwhile, Rampatige Nisanka alias Dubai Suddha, who revealed details of this human trafficking ring, has received death threats.
Since I exposed this human trafficking ring and revealed their names on media and social media, they are publicly calling for my assassination and offering 2 million rupees for it.
This was the recording of the conversation where death threats were issued to Dubai Suddha and was recorded by him.
I will take you. I will take you using my money. I have about 100 million. All of it is money I stole. I will get you within 1 hour. People are scared when they hear my name. Suddha has published a TikTok of this. I have offered 2 million to take him down. Record this voice and send it to even 100 police stations in Sri Lanka. I will kill you. Save yourself if you can.
Meanwhile, Dubai Suddha revealed more details about another Sri Lankan woman in Oman.
There is a woman in Oman who is 21 years old. Speaking in a video, she says that she had been abused. She is still inside a house in Oman and is unable to move out of her house. Her passport is with the representative of the agency. That woman has not been brought to Sri Lanka yet.
The Foreign Employment Bureau said that the official attached to the Sri Lankan embassy in Oman, accused of these heinous crimes, has been suspended. The suspended official is the officer acting in the capacity of Third Secretary at the Sri Lankan Embassy in Oman, E.K. Kushan. The husband of another woman stranded in Oman made another revelation about such an incident.
I'm speaking about my wife who is in Oman. Mr. Kushan had attempted to murder her on the 11th by using another woman there. I have all the details regarding them. I have the name, address and even the passport number of the woman who attempted to kill her. Since I was directly involved in exposing this, Kushan and the agency are trying to corner her. Her passport, her phone and the money she earned by working at houses there is being held by the agency. The agency has refused to return her passport, her phone and money. She is being detained because I am involved in this.
Sri Lankan women travel overseas because they are helpless. They cannot care for their families and provide for their children with the money that they earn here. They do not travel overseas to enjoy their life. When the country collapsed because of fraud and corruption, and the country's forex reserves were depleted, it was the money sent by these workers that eased the burden of the economic crisis. The politicians responsible for wasting our dollars while engaging in fraud and corruption are now turning a blind eye to the plight of these Sri Lankan women stranded overseas. Are the leaders of Sri Lanka and officials killing time while the dignity of Sri Lankan women is being defiled overseas because they have no shame?
News First with the people.
Now in other news, Minister of Education Susil Premajayantha spoke about the allocation for education in the budget proposal at a press briefing held today.
One of the most spoken of topics these days is the increase in the price of stationery items with the increase in the cess tax. The Ministry of Education has focused their attention on this matter. We don't produce paper in our country for the printing of textbooks. There are no textbooks that are produced using local raw material. We have to bring down paper for this from India. We got money to get the paper for printing of textbooks under the Indian credit line, $9.5 million from the State Printing Corporation and another $22 million from the private sector. If we are to reduce the price of textbooks, we must reduce the cess tax on raw material imported for textbooks. Secondly, there are a few items that are produced locally, but the prices of color pencils, chalk boxes, rulers and items like this may increase since they are not produced locally and the cess tax applies to them. The State Minister of Finance said that the prices of those items will not be increased. But I will discuss this matter further tomorrow and present the relevant documents to exempt stationery items from the cess tax.
However, speaking in Parliament yesterday, State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that the prices of stationery items did not increase due to the increase of the cess tax.
අපි කිසිසේත්ම මේ අභ්‍යාස පොත්
We have not imposed the cess tax on paper used to produce textbooks. If there is an increase in the prices of these books, then we need to inquire into why that has happened. But as of now, the cess tax on textbooks, pencils and erasers and other stationery items has not been increased.
However, according to our report yesterday, the reality in the market is quite different.
And with that, we wrap up the news for now. Up next, it's the World Cup.